Testing one, two, testing one, two. Testing one, two, testing one, two. Testing one, two. Testing one, two, testing one, two. Testing one, two. Testing one, two. Testing one, two, testing one, two. Testing one, two, testing one, two. Testing one, two, testing one, two. Test one, two, test one, two. Testing one, two, testing 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 one, two.
Welcome to WebEx. Press 1 to be connected to your meeting.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We can go ahead and take our seats and all right, today I'd like to call the City of Homestead Local Planning Agency meeting to order. Today is March 19th, 2025, and it is now 5:36 p.m. We have a roll call, please.
Board Member Avila? Here. Board Member Cannibal? Board Member Roth? Board Member Davis? Board Member Bailey, she's not here. Vice Chairman Fletcher?
Here.
Chairman Losner?
Here.
Ex officio Lawrence Ventura?
Okay, very good, thank you. Are there any additions, deletions, and deferrals for this agenda? There are none. Okay, we have before us the minutes of January 22nd, 2025. I'll ask for a motion to approve those minutes. Moved and second, moved by Councilman Ross, seconded by Vice Mayor Fletcher. There are no questions or comments. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, next item, quasi-judicial items. Mr. White.
There are none, Mayor. Moving on to legislative matters.
Very good.
The first item for consideration tonight is tab 2, card number 4557. It's an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances, amending Chapter 30 zoning, Article 3 District Regulations, Division 11, B1 Restricted Retail Commercial District, Section 30-256 Uses Permitted, and Division 12, B2 Retail Commercial District, Section 30-276 Uses Permitted, to revise the permitted uses in the B1 and B2 Retail Commercial Districts, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Good, thank you. So we'll go ahead and have the staff report on this item, and we'll waive it at the regular meeting.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is Derek Cook with Development Services Department.
No, it says you're Larry Ventura.
Here we are. Thank you. We'll make that. So, as you are aware, the item before you is a modification to the code. The intent is to allow for certain uses along the store frontage along Chrome Avenue and Washington Avenue. As stated in the document, it was originally intended from Camel Road to Maury Road is the extension for both streets. So what our intent is here is to introduce an avenue where we can generate energy, pedestrian activity along Chrome and Washington Avenue. And I thought as staff and consulting with you as council that we can introduce certain uses along this avenue that would help facilitate that. And we have identified 27 uses along Chrome Avenue and 28 uses along Washington Avenue, which are delineated in your packet. This code will not restrict the uses from B1 and B2 from taking place on the properties. It's just restrict what uses that can transpire along the street frontage as store frontage along Chrome and Washington Avenue. That is the intent of the code, and that is the request before you.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. And as a reminder for the public, this is an extension of some of the recommendations that came out of the charrette. This is probably the first legislative item that we're considering to help implement those recommendations that came from the charrette. Typically, if there are questions, we develop them more fully at the formal council meeting rather than here. Is there anyone here in the audience that plans to speak on this matter during the council meeting? All right, very good. So, are there any questions or comments from council at the LPA level? So I'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Board Member Avila, second by Board Member Davis. With that, let's call for a roll call on this item.
Board Member Roth? Yes. Board Member Davis? Yes. Board Member Avila? Board Member Cannonball? Vice Chairman Fletcher?
Yes.
Chairman Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And our next item is tab 3. Mr. White?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 3 and Tab 4 are companion items. I can introduce both of those, and you can have a collective discussion, public hearing on that, and then
Let's
take
do
a
that.
separate vote on each. So the next item, Tab 3, card number 4560, is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the Southwest Neighborhood Master Plan by amending general standards and the regulating sub-area zoning regulations for the commercial sub-area, providing for severability, inclusion, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. Tab number 4, card number 4559, is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 30 zoning, Article 3 District Regulations, Division 23 Planned Urban Neighborhood District, Section 30-396.62 subareas by modifying the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood Commercial Subarea Zoning District Regulations and Standards, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, sir. Mr.
Good
Ventura.
evening, Mayor and Council. It's Derek Cook with Development Services. As stated by the attorney, the items that you have before you is one, item 4560, which is seeking to amend the Southwest Neighborhood Master Plan, and car item 4559 is seeking to amend Chapter 30 of the zoning code. The intent of this is to allow for single use along Chrome Avenue on the west side, traversing from Southwest 5th Street to where the city terminates at its border. This would allow for what would require for mixed use along that corridor. Now we're allowing for single use, and it also will allow for use of drive-throughs in that area specifically. That is the intent of this legislation.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments from the board on this matter? Okay, we'll hold. All right, then. So on tab 3, I'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Board Member Avila, second by Board Member Cannonball. If there are no final comments, let's have a roll call.
Board Member Cannonball? Board Member Roth? Board Member Davis? Board Member Avila? Vice Chairman Fletcher?
Yes.
Chairman Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And we've had the presentation on the companion item, which is tab 4, which is the text amendment to the plan. We have a motion to approve. Moved by Board Member Avila, and with a second by Board Member Davis. Question to Board Member Avila.
Thank you, Chair. I do have some proposed changes to that text amendment. Is it appropriate to discuss it now, or can we include them in the discussions at the
Let's
council?
go now.
Okay, so one of the sections with regards to adding the drive-throughs and the single use, my recommendation would be to have it be listed as a special exception, so it would have to come back to council so that it doesn't foreclose us being able to review a plan and review that section. So currently, all of the parcels in this area are allowed for mixed use. And so if we do this change, they can do the single use or mixed use, horizontal or vertical, but it would not have to come back to council. It would be able to get approved administratively. That's my understanding. So the recommendation would be to allow it as a special exception so that it comes back.
To allow the single use.
Correct.
And I appreciate that. My thought is, though, that in effect, we are at most addressing a 3-block area. It's only from, on one side of Chrome, from 5th down to 8th, which is Lucy Street, the city limits. And all of those lots may not even go all the way through to Chrome. So at most, we're only talking about a 3-block stretch where we have the potential exposure for single uses or single uses with drive-throughs. Is your concern the single use or the drive-through?
The concern is the single use, or that multiple parcels will end up becoming single use and coming away from the original intent of having a more mixed use type of development. And more so, as the vision of the city and the charrette plays out, eliminating this, which was part of the original charrette's, review, it might just change the opportunity for that section, which is, I think, our furthest southwest area of Homestead, to just not be what it was intended to be. So, I thi-
Appreciate
is
it.
this
I'm
something we-
personally happy to take the risk of apartments off the sidewalk on Chrome Avenue, wherever they're located. Certainly throughout the balance of the area covered by the Southwest Master Plan, there's a plethora of mixed uses which are required.
okay,
That we're not changing that. We're only changing this 3-block distance fronting Chrome to allow single commercial use with a drive-through should they request it.
okay,
So that's kind of why I would shy away from a special exception. Perhaps, there are other areas we should revisit. You might recall, during our last term, and former Vice Mayor Guzman really brought up a good point, we seem to have an excess of mixed-use requirements, even within the Southwest. So,
okay, that's a good point.
yeah,
and I
so
did
this
look
kind
at
of
it.
starts to chip away
Yeah.
at that.
Okay, that's
And given
fine.
its location, I'm personally good with that. I'll, be happy to, absorb thoughts from anyone else. So that's where I would be on this.
Thank you. It's just a
Go ahead.
recommendation.
Okay.
I think I was looking at the project.
Bigger picture?
I wasn't looking at the additional parcels outside of the area that this was going to be
Yeah.
affecting, and I thought that the extra verbiage just kept a little bit more control for future councils to be able to make the decision, but
No, I get that, but again,
I'm
I come
fine.
back to a very limited
yeah,
frontage.
I see your point. Thank you,
Very
Mayor.
much so. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Are there any further questions or comments from council? Motion and second as presented in the package. So let's have a roll call on that, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Davis? Yes. Board Member Roth? Yes. Board Member Cannavale? Yes. Board Member Avila? Yes. Vice Chairman Fletcher?
Yes.
Chairman Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Very good, thank you. All right, are there any public comments with respect to this agenda? We'll have general public comments. I know some of you have signed up to make comments during the regular council meeting, but with respect to this agenda. All right, so I'll close the public comments. Anything further? Mr. Cook?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No.
Thank you. Anything further, Mr. Attorney? Either of you?
Not at this time, Mayor.
Okay, and anything further from this body acting as the local planning agency? All right, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved and seconded, all in favor? Any opposed? And we'll reconvene. This is not the council's time certain, or we can roll right into. So let's take a 5-minute, and we'll reconvene here for the regular council meeting in 5 minutes. And this meeting's adjourned. Thank you all. All right, that was a long 5-minute break. That's on me. Let's see if we can get this moving. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call the City of Homestead City Council meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, March 19th, 2025, and it is now 6 p.m. This evening, we'll have the invocation by Deacon Alpha Flaramond, pastor of the Sacred Heart Catholic Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilwoman Avila and our great Homestead Police Explorers. Please rise. Good evening, Pastor. Welcome.
Thank you. Let's put ourselves in the moment to praise the Lord. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with gratitude for this great city of Homestead, for its people, for the leaders who serve within this wall. We ask for this wisdom and guidance and the decision that they are making for this community. May fairness, justice, and compassion be at the heart of every one of them here. Bless those who lead, that they may govern in the integrity and humility. Strengthen them in the time of challenge and inspire them to seek the well-being of all. Let this city be a place of peace, unity, opportunity for everyone who call it the great city of Homestead. We also pray for those who work tirelessly to serve this community. May they be safe, supported, and encouraged to do more for every single citizen in this city. May this chamber always be a place of wisdom, service, progress, and may your presence dwell among us, not only just for today, but for every single day that comes in. Through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please be seated. And thank you again, Police Explorers. Okay, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Davis? Here. Councilwoman Bailey? Here. Councilman Cannibal? Councilwoman Avila? Here. Councilman Roth? Here. Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Here.
Mayor Lawson?
Here. All right, thank you. We have a quorum. All right, we'll now open the floor to public comments. Each individual will have 3 minutes to speak. I'll first call upon those who have pre-registered. And first in line is Ed Powell. Welcome back, Mr. Powell. The podium is yours if you'd like to speak. Please. 3 minutes. Is the mic on? Okay.
Well, I want to thank the city for hosting a pancake breakfast at our clubhouse Saturday. I missed it, and I also missed the Butterfly Park with the new chief, and to the city manager. he spoke to our little ragtag homeowners group at length a couple of weeks ago. It's their little Northgate group gets together and talk to each other. But he gave an informative speech. We're going to record it, I think, and have that available because I missed it. And I'm sorry I wasn't there. Okay, we all know Keysgate's gone through a tremendous turnover. Declarant, now aboard. A lot of stuff going on. I don't dig. A lot of other people. Okay? So instead of giving you a half hour of the bad news, I'm going to bring you up to date. Now that statute 720 has got some teeth in it about owners' rights as it applies to homeowners. The biggest item is transparency and access to files. We never got them before. Now the law is saying the board has to supply it. Well, guess what they do? They set up a portal online, said the files are out there. The law says we have a right to see them, touch them. They're out, it's on the portal. They only put out what they feel like. Half of what they need, they put on the portal. Okay, I'm looking at contracts that never before did they show us. They never showed us the landscaping. They never showed us the security contracts. We've now got some of that, one of which was the landscaping. Well, Mayor, you remember a couple of years ago, I asked you about who took care of the median on Kingman. And you thought that way back when, probably some horse trading went on, that Keysgate did the landscaping. Well, how do we know that? I never get that information. Guess what? Not only is it Kingman, we're paying for Pond Drive, we're paying for Farm Life Road, we're paying for parts of Kingman, and guess what? Everybody besides Keysgate uses those roads. Every road there, besides South Canal, is a state road. We're taking care of 3 of those 4 roads. I left a copy with Parks and Recs. They're going to look at it. Basically, they don't know who's on first. They're not sure who cuts what.
Right. Let me interject right there. Your 3 minutes is up, but this raises a whole lot of issues as to, if by contract with the city or land use, the association has been collecting money and supposed to have been doing that. I'll ask the manager to determine, have we been paying for it? Have the associations been paying for it? Those are things we need to determine.
You're right there. Well, last but not least, they're taking me to court, civil court. I am a endangerment, notice of assault and defamation.
Well, that,
Assault and defamation. I want to give you your copy. Assault and defamation. Okay, I'm not even sure what defamation was. But you imagine 80-year-old Ed Powell assaulting Larry Mino, your good friend. And from what I know, you guys spend a lot of time together. And you know everybody
time out
in
a
that
second, Mr. Powell.
Thanks a lot.
The 3 minutes are up, and we're not here to referee that. I think we all know what's going on out there.
Okay.
But again, you do raise a very good point as to the intricacies of responsibility versus financial.
Stay tuned, there's going to be a lot coming.
And we've got a manager and team that will address that.
Senator Porras is looking into the HOA. Stay tuned, go see him.
Thank you. Pass that down to the clerk, please. Okay, any other public comments? No one else has signed in. Is there anyone else in the audience? Okay. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Eddie Ramirez, 2231 Southeast First Street. I thought it was good enough and fair enough to always give kudos when things are positive in our community. So I just wanted to come and share with Mayor and Council that recently in our community, Ventanas del Sol, we had a little bit of concern, but I'm happy to say that I was able to get some items resolved with the new director from Code Enforcement, Jose. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for reaching out rapidly. He does have big shoes to fill because we all know that LaBanca Collins did an amazing, great job there. I'm sure she's shining wherever she's at now. And that being said, I just want to follow in the footsteps of our amazing captain, amazing chief that's here that started off on the website of Homestead Police to honor the women for Women's Month, as we know right now, March. And so I just wanted to congratulate our two amazing councilwomen for Women's Month and all the strong, amazing women that work in the city of Homestead. And congratulations to the new city manager, Crystal. So thank you for your time and have a good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. And although we know you, give us your name and address for the record, please.
It's always an honor, Mr. Mayor. Cordell Hayes, 3910 Northeast 13th Drive. To esteemed mayor, vice mayor, council, particularly to the ladies, Councilwoman Avila, Councilwoman Bailey, we are honored that we are going to be presenting a 3rd annual Women's Business Luncheon. My name is Cardell again, and I'm the Executive Director to South Day Connections. Our goal is to always support the minority businesses here in this community, to be able to have advocacy and a platform for those that may not be heard or seen. So for years, City of Homestead has supported our efforts to continue to lift our organizations in this community. So thank you. And so we're going to continue that on April 4th, right across the street. That 4th floor, we're looking for a great event. And it is free. It is free to the city, it is free to the administration, it is free for our entire women's community. That sounds static? Oh, okay. Thank you. That's better? All right, so once again, on April 4th, we're going to have our annual Women's Business Luncheon. And the goal of this is to provide that platform for our community of women businesses, which by the numbers, 80% of the businesses here are women businesses. Over 50% are Black and brown businesses. When we talk about the economic development here in the city of Homestead, Homestead is leading the way, right? And so we're proud to be a part of that. Years ago, with the help of the CRA, we launched a lot of those initiatives, including small business training. So we're glad to continue this effort. Been talking with the esteemed city manager on some of our efforts to continue it and making sure that we're aligning with the city of Homestead. So we passed out the flyer. Our goal is to put it on the social media, every platform for everyone to see. We would love for everyone to come out and be a part of this joyous occasion. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for your continued efforts. All right, is there anyone online? One more live one. Well, maybe one more. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. My name is Manuel Mendoza. I am a Ruta Teatral director. We are a non-profit organization for the culture. So we celebrate World Theater Day in Miami-Dade County for 4 years, okay, offering free theater in all county. So this year, we are hosting an outdoor theater event in Losner Park here in Homestead on March 27. So I'm here because we need financial help to cover costs like lighting, sound, and transportation for our show in this place, the next 27. So I don't know if it's possible for yours. Help us.
Yeah, Councilwoman Bailey?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sure some of you remembered last year and the year before. This is going to be the third year, right? Before it was held at the Seminole Theater, but this year he wanted to do something a little more open to the community. It has been really well attended, especially last year. I think we were able to reach a lot more schools. And just to be able to provide these performances, especially in Spanish, for our community, I think it's a great thing. So. I wanted to encourage him to come and let you know. You should have received an email from me as well with the flyer with a little more information. So anybody that is able to continue this, I would really appreciate you joining me to help it happen. What is your goal right now?
$3,000.
3,000 total?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. I think you circulated the flyers, and we each
Yesterday,
have probably some resources to help out with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else in the house? Anyone online? So I will close the public comments, and if there are no objections, we need to jump forward to tab number, Mr. Manager, tab number 22, I believe. Is that correct? From
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor. I believe you're mentioning, is it the presentation or
Right.
the deferral?
the presentation. Let's go ahead and do the presentation.
So the presentation is coming from Miami-Dade
22.
County Office of the Mayor, and it's being led by Mr. William Poro, and it is on tab number 22.
Thank you.
And
Mayor.
again, welcome. Pleasure to meet you earlier this evening.
Thank you. My name is William Poro, Assistant Director for the Department of Community Action and Human Services. I'm also a recovering City of Miami employee where I retired from. I spent about 20 plus years there.
Is that how you know this guy?
That's how I know Mr. Ekawaba. Whatever he tells you about me, only believe about 50% of it. So, but it's just an honor to be before you here. This is Good News Wednesday, so hopefully you'll be the first to be part of what I'm going to present today. Workforce.Miami is something that I developed when I was part of the mayor's office in innovation and economic development. I was able to develop two platforms, one for small business called Strive305hub.com, which I hope you'll take a look at, which is really a compilation of all the small business resources that are throughout the county. We'd like to obviously have the city of Homestead as part of that, Strive305hub.com. But the one that I'm going to present today is Workforce.Miami. It does two things quite well. Let me see if I can get this to work here. Excellent. The intent behind this, just so you know, was there's a particular group of individuals through Miami-Dade County. I don't know if you've ever heard of this term, but it's called the Alice population. It's something that was coined by United Way about 5 years ago. And there's a report that's called the Alice Report that's done every year. So the 23-24, there's about 488,000 people that fall within the Alice population. They're assets limited, income constrained, employed. So these are the people that are busting their hump every day, possibly two income households. Going back to work, they're probably a transmission failure away from going under. That was the intent to provide or create the site. So it's not a black hole when somebody is looking for, and you've probably heard it said many times, all the good jobs are taken, it's a matter of who you know, all of that nonsense. We wanted to do something that is innovative, straight to the point, but also driven by municipal government, who usually gets the calls when somebody is looking for jobs or homeless and a variety of other things. So this site does two things very, very well. We partner with the South Florida Anchor Alliance, which is funded by the Health Foundation. They bring all of the anchor institutions, the most recognized institutions in South Florida and in Broward County. Miami-Dade County is obviously there. Miami-Dade County Public Schools, the port, the airport, Baptist. There's about 40 or 5 different institutions that are part of that. We wanted to bring the best jobs available to these individuals. The other part that we wanted to show is the jobs, the upskilling opportunities. Let's say the person is working. They love what they do, but they want to get a certificate and get more income. We have the upscaling, probably the largest compilation of CTE, continuing education, apprenticeship, internship, certifications, anything that's about 12 months or less are on that site. We want somebody to be able to take their skills, scaffold them, and hopefully improve their income in their household. Why do we do this? The issue is we just want to make it easier for people and employers, the job seeker and employer, to find each other, basically. With the employers, and I hope that you'll be the first municipality that will be part of this with us, you'll have the ability to connect your employers directly with the job seekers. You don't have to do anything other than just look at the metrics, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. The local government, you have a power that probably nobody ever has. You probably have developers coming to you, projects that are coming, community benefit agreements and the like, and you have no way of really figuring out, hey, are they really producing the jobs that they say on paper they're going to produce? You'll be able to keep everybody accountable by the website. And obviously community, we want to get everybody from Morgan that's down here, any CTE courses that they have, to throughout the Miami-Dade County. We want to be able to make it easier for the person to find it. So we're going to create, well, this is already created. We launched this in beginning of December of last year. So it's very, very new. We have a mobility dashboard that we create within our department that really encompasses the whole activity of the website. But the city of Homestead can actually have their own dashboard so they can see what's going on in terms of that. I just did a screenshot so you just can see these are numbers that I plugged in. The actual total companies we have, we're about 300 right now. Total employees, we just started, we have, which is really the phase that we're in. We want to get this out to the job seekers so they can register. We have about 336 job seekers that are on the site. We have 2,225 job postings. The hardest part of all of this work is getting the employers on board. Really, technically, they're my client. The job seeker is the product, right? So we try to find people for jobs, not jobs for people. So if you have all of this amazing activity that's happening in Homestead, we want to be able to facilitate that. Right now, the average wage rate is about $21 an hour, which is really, really good. Excuse me. The person can come in without any intervention from any of us here and actually search for the jobs of all the anchor institutions by job site, by company, by industry. They can plug in their competencies and they can actually search on a percentage basis what jobs are available for them. This is the part that I'm really most proud of, is that we have the largest compilation of all of these upskilling opportunities. So we like to augment it, working with the city of Homestead as we have with others. Here's just a group of anchor employers that we have. We helped, when we just launched it, I went to the ribbon cutting at Amazon and I said, let us help you get people. We got a lot of people for them. We did their own landing page right now as we speak. If you go to workforce.miami/City of Homestead, you'll see the website that we just created for the city. Seaboard Marine, Port Miami, MIA is on there. I still haven't had, I need to add the vendors that are part of the airport, which is huge in itself. So we can create landing pages for the big ones. Like my goal is to have all 34 municipalities as part of this initiative for the county. The two crazy scientists are right there, myself and Carlos Vasquez, who's a nonprofit in downtown Miami, doing amazing work. They have something called Go Sprout to help, job seekers, employers, I'm sorry, with the apprenticeship program, because if they're a registered apprenticeship, there's some paperwork and some activity that needs to be tracked. Go Sprout can do that for them. So any questions, I'm here. Hopefully that you'll join our mission.
Thank you, appreciate it. Councilman Davis, thank you for bringing this forward.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank you so much for your presentation today. And this is exactly what our community needs. And to the city manager, we talked about this, gosh, several weeks ago, and he said, don't worry about it. I got an idea. And then here we are today. So, so much of our community are one paycheck away or a month away from homelessness. And you know, when you have a job and you get laid off, you don't have 2 or 3 months pay in the bank to keep the mortgage running or keep the apartment. you've got to have this. It's got to be out there. It's going to save people from homelessness or break the cycle of homelessness so people can keep working and keep getting jobs in our community. Boy, that's what it's all about. You're doing God's work, and I thank you very much for what you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
I only speak for myself, but I think I can join with our council that we are in it with you right now. And it's all about taking care of our community, all about taking care of our citizens and helping them to get jobs. So thank you very much for what you're doing.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilwoman Avila?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilman, for bringing this item onto the agenda. Great presentation.
Thank you.
I have questions that we can talk about offline if you don't mind
I would love
connecting
to.
with me. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I mean, certainly there's a lot of different ways to connect an employee to a job, but whenever there's a better mousetrap, you have to support it. And I think that this is exactly what new age people need. They need a fresh platform. You need the connectivity, the collaboration with the employers, and making sure that you're marketing those positions, those higher paying positions, so that we can increase the just the overall financial stability of our community. So thank you again, Councilman, and I will be supporting this item.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mayor. Ditto. My only question, and I'm just curious, is I'm not sure if you're aware, but we have a contract with Career Source as well. So I'm just curious, like, how the relationship between you and Career Source would work and what that means for us.
Can I?
They're part of. They're
Right, I
actually-
saw that
yes.
there. So I'm just curious, how do
Not
you?
everybody, that's a great question. Not every, this is another part of the intent. When I was at the City of Miami, I was actually part of the director of the department that was a career source provider for about 5 years. I created something there called the Opportunity Center. Because what I found was that a lot of the individuals, and especially the Alice population, will not qualify for those benefits. So even though you can go to Employ Florida, that's about as far as you're going to get. I wanted to take it one step. This is not an end-all and be-all, obviously, but what the councilwoman said, it's going to fill another gap. For that individual that is that Alice population, they don't qualify for any of the benefits. I want to help them hopefully grease the skid so they can find something diverse. Anything from a janitor to software engineer are part of those. So I hope that answers your question. But we do work with them.
So I understand that, our joinder would be the first municipality in Miami-Dade to join this platform.
It is no cost, obviously, to this. We're covering that as part of our.
And
Yeah.
in simplest terms, this is just another platform upon which we can advertise employment opportunities. Is
And
that
it's branded for
kind
you
of
all.
in its
Absolutely.
basic form?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Just as we've learned with procurement and bidding and so forth, the more platforms, the better. So appreciate it. Again, thank
Thank
you
you,
to
Mayor.
Councilor Hannibal, Vice Mayor, Councilor Roth. Good. All right. So,
So, Mr. Mayor?
yes.
So, at the beginning of the current fiscal year, the administration had announced the establishment of the Human Services Office. So this is one of the major initiatives of that office. In addition to bringing back Career Source plays a role. But this program from Miami-Dade County Office of the Mayor is a little different. It's crafted to also offer city residents upscaling opportunities in terms of training. There are certain categories of trades that are difficult to find in the field, like mechanics. So certification as a mechanic is something that is huge, which your platform also can engage people to get that opportunity to get trained. And just a little nuance, Career Source will fund partially 50% of what they do. This is at no cost to the city. So there's an additional advantage in also combining both because they're complementary. And Career Source we normally do over a summertime period, but this is all year round. So there's additional benefits in also engaging with this type of platforms.
And obviously, council members, you're going to bring employers that probably Career Source doesn't have or I don't have. So that's the whole purpose of this. Think beyond ourselves, if you will.
Very good. Thank you. So, yes, Councilwoman.
Sorry, one more thing for staff. Are we able to somehow offer a link where a business owner in the city can opt in to participating with this program?
Oh, yes, definitely. They're creating a website on their website for Homestead. So there is a link for people to get engaged and participate as a service provider, or to actually draw job seekers to their employment,
Yeah, we hope that they would put their
To make sure that the reso is strong enough to allow for our development services department to make sure we connect the business applicant or the business owner renewing their certification, for example, with the agency.
Okay. And also just a point, the intent is that, one, the city is the first municipality, but also that we work in tandem with Mr. Poro's shop at the county, that the city of Homestead serves as the flagship location in South Dade, right? Whether we're hosting informational sessions, that is drawing employers, that is also a part of the awareness building that we're looking to coordinate and connect on. So.
Very good, thank you.
Mr.
Yes.
Mayor, I apologize. I forgot to bring up an additional angle of why this is so important. The city manager and I had met with Special Operations Command South, and one of the reasons this was percolating, because they have a lot of dependent family members, spouses, what have you, that are looking for positions, and they're all PCS in, and then they PCS out, but they got to get a job. And this is one of the ways that we're, in a very tangible and a very meaningful way, taking care of those military families, that they can come in and now they're going to know, this is where you go. You PCS into Homestead, this is where you go to get a job. And we very much appreciate that on behalf of our veteran community.
And we want to work with you to make it something really, really good for you guys. So we'd love to work with you.
Very good. So let me open the floor quickly to public comments. Any public comments? None. I'll close the public hearing. Oh, okay.
Have to repeat the address and everything? It's good, that's great. Thank you, Mr. Davis, for bringing that. However, I don't think that's the problem. My question is, Mayor, is our city including City of Homestead residents when they apply? I know many callers have called me, mentioned that they've submitted their applications, and they don't get a response from HR, they don't hear back. They have the credentials, they have the certifications, many people waiting 6 months, 10 months. Are we telling our city managers, are we telling HR, definitely be looking in the City of Homestead for Homestead residents?
Let me just say it's a new day in HR. New director.
Another good move. I'm
So
glad. I'm
hopefully
glad to hear that.
Hopefully that addresses your concerns, and
I hope it
those
does.
experiences will not be common in the future.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, so we'll close the public hearing. Councilman Davis, would you like to make the motion on this resolution?
Sir, I'm so moved.
All right. Second by Councilman Avila. Roll call, please.
Councilman Ross? Yes. Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Cannibal? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, so back to the agenda. Mr. Manager, do we have any additions, deletions, or deferrals?
Yes, Ms. Mayor. Tab number 23, car number 4487, is being deferred to the next council meeting on April the 16th.
Okay. So do we need a vote on that, or are you just withdrawing that item?
I'll take a motion for the deferral to the date certain.
Okay. Motion moved by Vice Mayor Fletcher, seconded by Councilman Cannibal. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Anything further? Okay. All right. We have before us the consent agenda consisting of tabs 1 through 7. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Moved by Councilman Roth, seconded by Councilman Cannibal. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to legislative matters, beginning with tab 8. Mr. White.
Yes, Mayor. Tab 8, card number 4557, is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 30 zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 11, B1 Restricted Retail Commercial District, Section 30-256, Uses Permitted, in Division 12, B2 Retail Commercial District, Section 30-276, Uses Permitted, to revise permitted uses in the B1 and B2 Retail Commercial Districts, providing for severability, inclusion in the code, conflicts, and providing for an effective date. This is first reading.
Thank you, sir. All right, we discussed this a little bit in our LPA meeting. Certainly, we had the staff report, so there's no opposition. We'll waive the rereading of the staff report, and I'll entertain any questions or comments from council. All right, this item has been moved by Councilwoman Avila, seconded by Councilman Cannonball.
Mayor.
Let me open this. Yes.
I'm
Mr.
sorry, I
White.
was going to say public hearing.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to open a public comment. Yeah. Now it's been moved and seconded. I'll open the floor for public comment on this item on tab 8, the code amendments regarding street front usage on Washington and Chrome Avenue corridors. So seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote on tab 8.
Councilman Roth? Councilman Cannibal? Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carried.
And tab 9 is a second reading on the ordinance establishing the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. Mr. White?
Tab 9 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending Chapter 2, Article 3 of the City Code titled Boards, Committees, Commissions to include Division 12 titled Affordable Housing Advisory Committee pursuant to Section 420.9076 Florida statutes, codifying the committee's functions, powers, duties, composition, appointment qualifications, and requirements for membership, providing for officers, meetings, quorum, legal support, and public notice, providing for severability, inclusion in the code, conflicts, and providing for an effective date. Second and final reading.
Very good. Any objection to waiving of the reading of staff report? Let's get it on the floor. Do we have a motion? Moved by Vice Mayor Fletcher, seconded by Councilman Roth. Do we have any public commentary on this item? Okay, so I'll close the public hearing, and as we go forward, let me remind council, refresh yourselves with the very tight categories of members. If you have someone in mind, you'll need, and it'll be posted on the website, they'll need to submit their resume and a letter of interest with the category that they would fit into to the clerk for my bringing back forward a slate of members, and this is time sensitive. I think we need to do this by April 8th. Is that correct? So we'll advertise that, and certainly I'm certain that some of you have members in mind, and I'm trying to figure out which one of you to there is a council member. There is a seat on the board for a member of the city council. So with that, let's have a roll call vote.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilman Cannibal? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Good, thank you. All right, moving on to tab 10. This is a second reading on our solid waste franchise ordinance. Mr. White.
I'll take this one, Mayor.
Okay.
This is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 23.5, Solid Waste, Article 1 in general to include definitions for franchises, creating Article 2, Regulations of Persons Engaged in Commercial Waste Collection, amending Article 3, Collection by the City to include special collections and charges, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Again, this is second reading, so if there are no objections, we'll waive the staff report. I'll ask for a motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I think let the city attorney opine on certain amendments, text amendments of the ordinance.
If I could,
yes.
During the briefing discussion, the manager raised an excellent point on a way to expedite these things. One of the amendments between first and second reading allowed for subcontracting, And the way that it is drafted in the matter before you, it requires the subcontractor to obtain the same franchise. The manager would like to make an amendment that would eliminate the requirement for them to be awarded an independent franchise and rather require them to meet all of the same operational requirements as the prime franchisee without coming back for an additional award.
The prime franchisee being the ultimately responsible party. All right, so will the maker of the motion include that? We need a motion to, I don't think we had a move by, subject to the amendment. Motion by Councilman Avila, seconded by Councilman Cannonball. Let me open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this? Not appearing, I'll close the public hearing. Further, yes, Councilman Roth.
Thank you, Mayor. So I don't remember where this came up, but I think I was talking with Kamar about the trash collection and in the new developments to require bulky pickup locations in those townhouse and condo areas. If you go into any of the other communities, they don't have that. So we had talked about that, and I was like, it's a good idea. We may require them to have specific locations. Like if you go into Venetia Groves or the Gardens, you'll see bulky trash is laying in the street next to their dumpster. So, but they don't have designated areas. So it's not a part of this, but it should be something we think about in the future as these guys have to go in there and pick up trash and how they police their own communities. So I think that would be something we might want to think about in the future.
Well, and certainly any future site plan approvals and plat approvals may need to have those areas designated as
part of the site plan.
as a check the box as part of that process. That certainly doesn't preclude when an HOA or a CDD contracts with a provider from the provider, and that's something we could encourage the providers to do for aesthetics and efficiency, is to, the contract between the provider and the recipients could provide for those centralized locations. So I think we can, for future, we can build that into site plan and plat approval, but for now, we're going to encourage that designation in future contracts. Yes, yes,
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilwoman.
These communities would still be subject to the same schedule for bulky trash pickup? Like they couldn't decide they're going to have bulky trash pickup with their franchisee 3 times a week? Just extreme example, but that's not an option, right? Like the residents in this.
Is it whatever they want to pay for? It's outside of our schedule, right?
So is it going to be whatever they decide?
So you would be on the same frequency. You can't have less frequency than what the city does. But if they wanted to pay for more, just like if a resident, let's say, was cleaning out their house and contacted solid waste for an additional pickup, that's a service that we do provide for a fee.
Right, and that policy is currently structured and built in.
So if they wanted to pay the franchisee more for that as an HOA, that's between them and the franchisee.
I'll let it rest. Thank
So
you.
we let the minimum.
There'll be no less service. You're not going to have it piling up, in theory. Okay. So, did we have public comment? I don't think we had public comment on this. Let me open the public hearing on the solid waste franchise ordinance. So seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. We had a motion and a second, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's have a roll call vote.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannonball? Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Ross? Councilman Davis? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And moving on to tab 11, the first item is a resolution regarding federal financial assistance subrecipient grant. Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 11 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, accepting a grant award from the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services for the city's tree planting project, authorizing the city manager to execute the grant agreement and related documents, providing for implementation, and providing for an effective date.
Very good, thank you. And Mr. Manager, we have already identified the location several months ago. This is just the formal acceptance of this one of 2 grants tonight.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor, and also as part of the grant application, we were required to identify locations ahead of time.
Very good. So this item's been moved by Councilwoman Avila, seconded by Councilman Davis. Let's open the floor for public comment. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote on tab 11.
Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Davis? Councilman Cannibal? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And moving on to tab 11, car number 4541.
Tab 12.
12, I'm sorry. I'm looking at 12 and saying 11. 4541, professional services for permitting, plan review, and inspection services. Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 12 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the award of an agreement under request for proposal 2024-36 for professional services for permitting, plan review, and inspection services to Cap Government, Inc., MT Causley LLC, and HBC Engineering Company, authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute agreements with each of the ranked proposers, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Good, thank you. Is council comfortable waiving the staff report on this lengthy item? All right, so let's, do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Councilman Davis, seconded by Councilwoman Avila. We open the public hearing. Seeing none, I'll, come on down, Mr. Powell.
My name, Edward Powell, 745 Southeast 18th Lane. Did I see or read that they're going to build a separate building for code? Did I see that someplace?
Well, that doesn't have anything to do with this item, but yes, we had an existing building that the county terminated its use. So over the last several months, we have authorized the placement of code enforcement in an existing building that the city already owned.
Okay, is that the old library building?
No, this is down in the southwest section,
Okay,
southwest
but
neighborhood.
you're retaining the original code enforcement group, Holly, or? is it-
Well, it's been restructured. It's out of the police department now.
Okay, let's hope that gets fixed, because it never did get fixed in my 20 years here. Good luck.
All right, thank you. So, let's have a roll. We'll close the public hearing on tab 12 and have a roll call vote on inspection services and permitting and plan review.
Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Cannibal? Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Davis? Councilman Roth? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 13 is the item with respect to a change order for the future home of code enforcement. It's car number 4561, administrative office renovation, change order number 2. Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 13 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving change order number 2 to the Administrative Office Renovation Project with Sleeman Construction LLC, authorizing the city manager to execute change order number 2, providing for conflicts and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. And in lieu of the staff report, let's just be very clear that most of this is due to county regulatory requirements for fire suppression. Small amount with respect to some air conditioning replacement, but other than that, this is all county regulatory items through the fire department. So, we have a motion to approve tab 13. Moved by Councilman Davis, seconded by Councilman Cannibal. Anything further from council on this item? Public comment. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Davis? Councilman Roth? Councilman Cannibal? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And moving on to tab 14, car number 4562, Pump Station 22, upgrades grant acceptance. Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 14 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, accepting a grant award from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for Pump Station number 22 upgrade project, authorizing the city manager to execute the grant agreement and related documents, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Without doing a full-blown staff report, Mr. Manager, is there anything you'd like to put on the record with respect to this item?
Yes, this is the same pump station that we recently completed the bypass, and we were successful in getting additional funding from federal governments to the tune of $3.5 million for the actual pump station to be rebuilt. We are hoping that at some point we'll be able to draw this money down without any additional, perhaps, recall effort from the federal government. So we'll be coming back with an item in the near future to award this contract under the existing emergency declaration that we have in place in order to expedite the construction. But the bypass system is in place. The temporary pumps are pumping for the past, I believe, 2 weeks. We're hoping that as soon as we go through the monitoring phase with Miami-Dade County Durham, we will be able to have a release from the moratorium so that about 16 entities that are still on the waiting list should be able to connect.
Tremendous news. Thank you. Thank everyone on staff that put this together, made this happen. Councilman Cannonball.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager. This is something that we needed. We had that moratorium for 12 years already. Okay, so we're in the verge of getting rid of it.
Just for clarity purposes, the moratorium has only been in place for 1 year, but the notification about the work that needed to be done was made about 12 years ago.
Plenty of lead time. All right. So, need a motion on tab 14. Moved by Councilman Avila. Seconded by Councilman Cannonball, and a question by Vice Mayor Fletcher.
Yes, and not needed tonight, but can we get some numbers of what the usage have been with the recently installed temporary pumps?
Get it to you.
Not needed immediately, just when you get a chance.
Very good. So we have a motion, a second on the table. Any public comment? Anyone want to object to accepting $3.5 million from the federal government?
You thought you'd get rid of me. I'm just curious, on on Maui, they put in 3 pump systems in where the RV park is. Is that part of your pumping system? I know you had a pipe that you put all the way over to the sewage, like a 6-inch, that took quite a 6 or 12 inch. Is that part of that pump station there on Maui?
So I believe you are referring to the recently completed construction work where the city installed 24-inch pipes
24?
From the original pump station location with the temporary pumps all the way to the wastewater treatment plant on 6th Avenue. So this is the same pump station that has been under moratorium, and it's actually Homestead's regional pump station because it receives flow from 13 other pump stations.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. All right, we have did you have a question? No.
I just wanted to comment. This is fantastic. $3.5 million. Congratulations to staff. Congratulations to our city manager. This is by far some of the largest infrastructure improvement that I think the city has seen in many years. So just congrats and thank you for the grant. That's fantastic.
Good. All right, so we have a motion and a second. We've had public comment, so let's have a roll call vote.
Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Cannonball?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Very good. Moving on to tab 15, this is a first reading of car number 4559, and this is a code amendment to chapter 30 regarding zoning.
Yes.
Mr. White.
Mayor, as we did in the LPA,
Right.
tab 15 and 16 are related items, so I can introduce both.
Please do them together and we'll have separate votes.
Tab 15, car number 4549, ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 30 zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 23, Planned Urban Neighborhood District, Section 30-396.62 subareas, by modifying the Planned Urban Neighborhood Commercial Subarea Zoning District regulations and standards, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, conflicts, and providing for an effective date. Tab 16, car number 4560, is first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the Southwest Neighborhood Master Plan by amending the general standards and the regulating sub-area zoning district regulations for the commercial sub-area, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the master plan, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, and we discussed this at length at the the OPA. So let's have a motion on tab 15. Okay, we've got moved by Avila, seconded by Cannonball. Any public comment? Close the public comment. Any final questions or comments from council? On tab 15, let's have a roll call vote.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannonball? Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Davis? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And now a motion on the companion item, tab 16. Moved by Avila, seconded by Councilman Cannonball. Any public comment? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Roth? Councilman Davis? Councilman Cannonball? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you all. Moving on to second readings, tab 17, car number 4511, and this is with respect to the Parks and Roadway Trust Fund. Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, tab 17 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City of Homestead Code of Ordinances by creating Division 6, Parks and Roadway Trust Fund of Article 9, Finance of Chapter 2, Administration of the City Code in order to provide for a dedicated funding mechanism for the development and improvement of city parks and roadways, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Any objection to waiving the staff report? Okay. Is there any public, well, let's get it on the table. We have a motion moved by Councilwoman Avila, seconded by Councilman Davis. Do we have any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for Councilman Roth.
Just one question. The Homestead Miami Speedway funds, I remember when we started out the police officers camera program, we were using that money for that program. Is that something we looked at before we take this money and restrict it to parks?
I think the language here is anything above the baseline we have now.
Okay.
You know, they have their, that we're utilizing to offset the body cams. That is not dragnetted into this. This would be any
Excess
increase.
money over
Right.
increases. in the
Naming
future?
rights, amendment
Got
of
it.
leases, anything in excess of the amount we get now.
Perfect. So I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that we didn't do something to jeopardize the
Yeah,
body
good
camera
catch.
program.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Remember. Is that it, Councilwoman? Did you have a question? No. Okay. Public comment? No public comment. I'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote on tab 17.
Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Roth? Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannonball? Councilman Davis? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And now, second reading on car number 4513, establishing guidelines for educational qualifications and professional development. Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, tab 18 is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, establishing educational and professional requirements for city department directors and assistant directors, providing for severability and an effective date.
Very good. Let's, I believe there was some discussion about a slight amendment. If you could turn to that.
In section D2, under the exceptions for the applicability, there's two provisions. One identifies people that are currently working in their respective positions, but the second says, notwithstanding the requirements contained in the section, the city manager shall have the authority to hire or promote current employees who do not meet the minimum requirements enumerated herein to fill the covered positions. During the briefing process, it was suggested that we eliminate from current employees forward. So from who do not meet the minimum requirements would be deleted, and there would be a period after employees.
Striking the word current.
Striking the word.
Everybody got that? That's in the last page of the ordinance in subparagraph D, exceptions. Okay. So, any questions or comments from council? Councilwoman Bailey.
Sorry, so just to clarify, striking that word, I know that that was one thing that came up during our talks, is that there were no current employees right now that this would affect. Is that still the case?
That's not correct, Madam Council Member. There is one of the directors that we reassigned recently with the promotion of Ms. Crystal Oliveri to be an assistant city manager. She's going to take direct control of the Office of Customer Service that currently had a director, so we eliminated that director position so that she has direct control over the department for process and efficiencies, for her to do improvements there.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything further? All right, do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Councilwoman Avila, seconded by Councilman Cannonball. Public comment. Let me open the public hearing. Seeing no comment, I will close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote.
Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannonball? Yes. Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
A reluctant yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And moving on to tab 19, this is a resolution, car number 4463, amending Resolution R 2025-01-03, amendment to council meeting and agenda procedure. Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, tab 19 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, enacting revised comprehensive council meeting and agenda procedures, superseding resolutions on the same subject, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. And in effect, I mean, just for public consumption, this will create a process similar to that by the county. Any one of us initiates something, it provides for others to become a co-sponsor of that item. Yes, Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mayor. I do like this, this addition. One change I did want to recommend is that there is a potential for there to be two prime sponsors. So, for example, if we were to have a sunshine meeting to develop, some type of reso, there would be two prime sponsors. Did that make it into any revised text for us to review? Or can we just add it to the
You
floor?
can add it. It's a simple addition by just adding basically a parentheses S after in two spaces.
What section was that going to be in again?
It is on page 12. It's in subparagraph 3 there, on preparation of legislation.
I found it, thank you. So
Yes.
it would read under the underlined
Any other
sentences?
council members
Correct.
who wish to sponsor or be designated as co-sponsors.
May join as a
plural.
prime, yeah.
Yes.
I would just ask.
So you'll offer that motion, subject to that amendment.
So moved, thank you.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? All right, second by Councilman Davis. Any further questions or comments from council? Mr. Manager.
Yes, I just want to bring to your attention and to council members, there potentially could be two avenues to become a co-sponsor. Either on the floor of the date of the council meeting, you may want to indicate that you want to co-sponsor, or during the agenda briefings, if a council member decides to co-sponsor an item, he can bring it up to our attention, and when under the item being considered, the city attorney can read it into the record.
And when they read it by title, they'll announce the prime and co-sponsors. All right. So, I think we have a motion and a second. Public comment? None. Let's have a roll call vote.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Davis? Councilman Roth? Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannonball? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And moving on to tab 20, car number 4552. This is a resolution encouraging cleanup efforts near schools. I'll have Mr. Pearl read it by title and then hand this item over to Councilwoman Avila.
Thank you, Mayor. Tab 22 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, encouraging the city administration to monitor cleanup efforts on public spaces and rights-of-way near schools, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for distribution, and providing for an effective date.
Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mayor. So this item is to encourage enhanced cleanup efforts around public spaces and rights-of-ways, and to prioritize litter removal and regular maintenance in these areas. And it seeks to ensure that families, students, and the broader community benefit from clean, safe environments. It also calls for greater departmental coordination, partnerships with local schools and community groups, and active pursuit of grants or sponsorships to sustain and expand beautification initiatives And through this measure, the City of Homestead underscores its commitment to safeguarding the welfare of its youngest residents and cultivating a welcoming atmosphere in proximity to educational facilities. So I want to thank staff for creating a perfect background information in our booklet. So I figured I'd read it because it really does capture the essence of this reso.
Thank you. Councilman, questions?
I'd like to co-sponsor.
I accept your co-sponsorship, Councilman Roth. Thank you for the support.
And then also, I'd like to also recommend that maybe we put together a quarterly or biannual cleanup that's sponsored by the city, and I'd encourage all of us to participate in that as well. Thank you.
I agree, and I think particularly in the closer proximity to schools, to encourage, their PTAs, their sports teams, or service organizations throughout the city to adopt that block or those couple of blocks, and because in reality, I mean, this is not 500 feet from the school, this is 500 yards from a school. And given the location and the number of schools in this city, understand that if you draw that circle, you've basically covered the entire city with this initiative, given the number, because we aren't differentiating between traditional public, private, or charter.
Correct, Mayor.
This is-
And I did include, all of you should have a packet, and you can, take the time to review it between now and second reading. There should be a second reading on this one, right? Oh, no, this
it's
is
a
final?
resolution.
Okay,
It's a
sure.
reso.
Sorry, thank you. So there is a map, and it does show some circles and dots, and it kind of will help you get a feel of where in your districts this would be impacting. And it could always be revised in the future if need be. So thank you.
Maybe we can figure out a way to use some of that red speed money for. Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much for this coming forward. I mean, I think this is a great way to improve the way we do business. And I just think it's important to remind our city manager and staff how much better things are now that this team has come together. And this item does nothing more than kind of fine tune how we're doing business. Kamar, how many things have I sent to you? And it's like I take a picture and then I tell you what intersection. Man, it's done, Thank you so much for that, but thank you for fine tuning this process that we're in today. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll co-sponsor if you want to put the S to the test. I just had a comment for you to consider. I don't know if you were here, but there is an app called Literati, with litter being, it's not literally, but it's called Literati. And I had a few different mentoring programs, and I brought them all here for a council presentation to encourage them, to encourage their kids to download this app. And it might be an interesting way to get the youth involved. If we get to the point where we're getting the schools to be involved, it has to do with taking a picture of what you are collecting, and it helps us also keep track of how many items of trash have been collected during what cleanups. It's a really interesting thing. Some of those mentoring programs ended up using it, but that might be something to consider for this.
I love the idea. And
Thank
if you can videotape offenders throwing trash out the
Oh,
window
for
at
sure.
the same time, that'd be good too.
For sure. Just with the youth, always wanting to take a picture of what they're doing. I thought that could fit. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any public comment? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Ron? Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Cannavale? Councilman Davis? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carried.
And moving on to tab 21, which is car number 4553, a resolution encouraging Miami-Dade County to repair potholes in county-maintained roadways within the city of Homestead.
Thank you, Mayor.
Let's read it by title.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 21 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, encouraging Miami-Dade County to expedite the maintenance and repair of county-owned right-of-way within the city, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for distribution, providing for an effective date.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilwoman, yes.
Council, I think there is a substitution for this.
I
There
read the
was-
substitution.
Okay, just want to bring to their attention.
Okay.
There was it was substantively the same, an amendment to the title. You have it on your desk in front of you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Very
Mayor.
good.
It really is what it says. It's just to push the county to focus and prioritize all of the City of Homestead roadways and to get these potholes filled. And I want to thank staff for doing what they can in the interim. But it shouldn't have to be said, and we shouldn't have to constantly bring it up for attention. But apparently, there's only one team for all of Dade County with 6 employees that are going around fixing potholes. So, I say let's continue being a squeaky wheel about it, and hopefully the reso, which will be dispersed to our county commissioners, and I'll have it in hand tomorrow when I do my ride-along with Commissioner or Vice Chair McGee's office. We can get more attention on these matters. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for bringing this forward. So you'll make the motion to approve the substitute item. Do we have a second? Second by Councilman Cannonball. Open the public hearing. Close the public hearing. Comments from council. Vice Mayor Fletcher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councilman Avila, for bringing this forward. I understand we still have our QRT team, and we will address, immediate concerns when they are identified to us, but summertime's coming, rain's coming, so they fix the pothole one day and it's back the next. So let's keep pushing our county.
Yeah, because it's the quality of the repair.
Correct. So,
It's,
but I want to thank our city employees who do make those quick repairs, but sometimes they just don't last.
well, the county's lack of quality in the repairs, yeah. All right, so roll call. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Roth.
Is it possible for us to get a map and identify which roads are the county ones?
We
that are
have that.
We do have it?
Yeah, we have it.
Yes.
Because, I particularly, I drive around all over the city, and I call every time I see a pothole somewhere, and sometimes it's our road, sometimes it's not the county's road, or it's the county's road. So that way, we know at least where they are. Because, you guys even come into other areas that aren't your jurisdiction just to take care of the problem, because at the end of the day, the resident doesn't know who owns which road.
And they don't care.
And they don't care. They just want it fixed. So, and if you drive outside the city, it's horrendous. Inside the city, it's pretty good, but outside the city, it's getting really, really, really bad out there. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, we had that when we created those project priorities several months ago with the D.R. Horton impact fees. That was a very, very, very legible and beneficial map, so that would be good to circulate those again. All right, roll call.
Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Davis? Councilman Ross? Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannonball? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. And that brings us to business from the city manager. Anything further, Mr. Manager?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council. Last week, the mayor and I visited Tallahassee to shop around and promote some of the city's legislative priorities that this council had authorized. I'm happy to report that some of the interventions that we made are beginning to kind of be on the right path. We're hoping for success on most of those legislative priorities. And also, at the last Committee of the Whole / special call, Councilmember Larry Roth had requested for a report, which we circulated this afternoon for your perusal and digestion. And also, the NASCAR race is this weekend. The digital tickets are being distributed to council members for you to share with any of your interested residents. And since yesterday or days before, there has been a raging fire on the southern border of the city. And Miami-Dade County Fire Rescue, as well as State Forestry, have been battling to contain the fire. Just a report on that. We also received a request from the Office of the Executive Governor in Tallahassee asking for a bunch of financial information for the past 7 years and asking us to certify that the city has been compliant with state statute, Florida Statute 218.503. We have a deadline, and we're hoping to comply with that, and we'll share the results before we send it out to Tallahassee for council to take a look at. And I think the last item I have here is that we'll be coming at the next meeting with an MOU that the state requested for ICE, which is Immigration Office, for us to certify that our police department will be partners with the program. Most cities in the state of Florida received the same request, so we want the city council to authorize for us to execute the agreement, which places our PD at the disposal of ICE for any kind of intervention they want to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any questions from council? The manager's report? Okay. Mr. Attorney, anything further?
A couple of quick things. I'd like to request 2 executive sessions. One in the matter of Trejo v. City of Homestead. It's case number 25-3659 in Miami-Dade County Circuit Court. And the other is Warren v. City of Homestead. It's OJCC case number 24-023758 in the Administrative Hearings Office for compensation claims. And then aside from that, I just wanted to remind everybody, I circulated a copy of the charter. If there are any suggestions or areas of concerns, if you can email them to me so I can start compiling a list of topics to present to you that we can discuss at a future meeting. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. All right, so let's make are those very time sensitive? Do we have some meetings scheduled in the coming weeks that we could tag on?
I'd like to have an initial discussion, if we could, during the night of the cow.
I'm talking about the executive sessions.
Oh, the executive sessions? Nothing that's that pressing. The second one, Warren, is more pressing. Trejo, we were just served, so it's just an introduction to that case.
Whatever schedule, time frame that needs to happen. Councilwoman Avila?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman Bailey?
Just another quick Happy Women's Month, especially to all the fabulous ladies that help make our city run smoothly, and a big I love you to my mama and my sister, who are my favorite ladies in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Cannonball? Very good. Councilman Roth?
Thank you. Just 2 things. One, I want to thank the staff and the city manager for the attentiveness to those yard signs. They're still out there. They're prevalent. They keep popping up every single place you look. You pick them down and you pick them up and they put them up there again. What's that? Yeah. There's just so many of them. And also for stopping some of the car lots that are popping up everywhere. I did notice today out on Northwest 8th Street and about Northwest 9th or 10th Avenue, right around the old railroad tracks, there were 3 or 4 vehicles that were parked in the swell for sale. I guess it's a good market for Homestead to have used car sales everywhere. And through the vice mayor's seat, just to update on the traffic light at Center Gate. The installation for the new traffic light at Center Gate. Do we have this thing's been going on for like 5 years now.
Literally.
Yeah.
No exaggeration.
We'll provide you with an construction schedule update.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
I can say that there has been work being performed there. I'm actually seeing some bases put in for the poles. So again, 5 years, but it's moving forward. Now we got to start looking at a couple other intersections.
All right, thank you. That's all.
Yes.
Well, and in that regard, we have a very good relationship, social and professional relationship with the new director, the county director of Public Works Director. That's, I think the value of the relationships we've all fomented, as well as, our managers' relationships. So I think that, going forward, we do have a friendly and attentive ear in that department for those issues. Does that conclude your business? Thank you. Councilman Davis? Thank you. Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Just quickly, again, Homestead will be on the nation's television this weekend, hopefully without a fire in the background. But we have talked with, our Chief of Public Safety, the Chief of Police, and they're monitoring the situation as well, and they will make any inputs or podcasts that need to be made so they can inform the citizens where we're at. But remember to keep your areas clean if you can. It's a big weekend for the city of Homestead, and we're hoping for some good news in the near future. So let's put on a good show. Thank you. That's it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, and I join in those sentiments with respect to the race this weekend. Okay, my first formal item of business is the appointment of some of our former colleague, or some of us, he was a former colleague, Julio Guzman, to fill a recent vacancy at the Homestead Housing Authority. If there are no objections, we'll go forward with that. I just want to springboard on what the manager said about our trip to Tallahassee last week. We knocked on a lot of doors were opened, a lot of good, deep, friendly, receptive conversation. I think as we've all read and heard, Tallahassee is just seemingly from the outside looking in kind of chaos, and a lot of cats being herded in a different direction, but we're able to stay within our narrow lane and get good responses, and some indication that maybe some of those real questionable items that could be very detrimental to all cities may sputter out. We're going to be amended. So it's always an adventure to go to Tallahassee. Real quick. And then this morning I had the opportunity to do career day at my alma mater, Redondo Elementary School this morning, a cafetorium full of eager third graders. It's always quite the experience, and I don't know that they could get their heads around the fact that it was 58 years ago when I started the first grade there, and the only thing that had changed is they now had air conditioning. Beyond that, it was basically the same school. But it's always great to get back to those roots. From elementary to high school, it's one of the real fun parts of being up here, and I know all of you have that opportunity, and I want to thank them for inviting me back. Councilwoman Avila, one final item.
Sorry, thank you. There are streetlights that are not operating on 137th Avenue. I know that the county has addressed them, and this is specifically affecting right close to where Campbell Drive and 137th intersect. The majority of the string that was out from Waterstone's main entrance to Campbell Drive is working now, but there's still about a block that is not. My question is, do we have the ability to add any of our own lights just freestanding there in the meantime so that there's some type of safety, lighting safety going on? I'm getting calls from the community. It's been out for over a year. Thank you.
We'll look into that.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Fletcher.
Yeah, Councilwoman Avila, if you remember several years ago, we were having high fests of copper wires, and a lot of those lights may be FPL or FDOT. So sometimes that takes some time to get those, but I know that our wonderful Director of Energy Services will make those calls and contacts. So, thank you.
Very good. And with that, if there's nothing further, I'll ask for a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Thank you all. Good night.
Want to impose conditions that will consider stringent, such as the type of species of trees and the maintenance timeline, so that we can all have a proper definition as to what our commitments will be.
Right, and as I understand, we'll come back, just as we're doing with the other grant, to come back and discuss location and species and disbursement. But let me get back up on the soapbox. 2 months in a row, we have voted to accept or approve grants, something that I hope happens every month from here on out. So Moved by Councilwoman Avila, second by Councilwoman Bailey.
Second, also, and just take this opportunity real quick to thank you guys since you're here for the last Rock Your Block. I know that you didn't come to a council meeting after, but you guys are great community partners, and that was a really, really wonderful initiative for you to help out with. So thank you.
All right, so I'll ask for any public input. We'll close public comment section. We have a motion and a second. Let's have a roll call vote.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Roth? Councilman Davis? Councilman Cannibal? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Very good. Moving on to tab 18, Mr. Manager.